of Africa on the slave ships, that we brought no gay lesbian with us. You understand? We brought nothing but mighty warriors,
okay,
African women and men.
Okay, but it used to be the white girl. Now it's the sister. It's the black sister. And it's hard for a young black man like me and other brothers to get married because all the women you see, they don't need no man. Or, you know, I have someone. And, you know, that's a sign of lesbians and gays. And, you know, I see that's a problem. You know, so...
Well, I would suggest to you to go join some political organization struggling for your people, and I believe you will find a sister that can match what you're looking for. Just go find a progressive organization struggling for your people's needs.
Yeah, I mean, not just that, you know, I mean, the drugs and, you know, everything, you know, what's going on, cocaine, crack, and you know, it's sad, you know, that, you know, beautiful, you know, black sisters nowadays don't believe in that no more, marriage. That's what I was talking about as far as goals and morals and history of who we are. You know, okay? You classify us in any way you can. You know, other people say we're like animals. You know, but hey, you know, who is the real superior in you? You know, so I think it's deeper than what we really think it is, because we can't even have decent not just marriage, man. You can't even get a girlfriend, boyfriend in this day of time. Nobody wants to be committed no more.
Well, my brother, first of all, I'm going to take you up on the challenge, and then we will probably do a program on that sometime in the future.
I mean, y'all need to. Y'all really need to talk about, you know, how young people can't come together and be in relationships like, you know.
But, to get back
and
to...
the love is not strong like it used to be.
Yeah, but to get back to what we discussing today, one of the things that Kwame Ture had always mentioned is for us to organize, to join organizations, to come together that will look out for our interests and that we are able to identify ourselves with. Unfortunately, we have this Afro-Saxon mentality. This is what causes us to go away from our normal thing. Thank you so much. We have a call coming in. Kwame to Insight.
Hello.
Welcome to Insight.
All right, how y'all doing this evening? Well, let me turn my shit down a little bit.
Okay.
I don't care. I hear you, you know, everybody speaking about Africa. And, you know, I just heard a gentleman comment that we brought mighty warriors over here on the slave ship. Well, one thing I want to know is, if we were such mighty warriors, then did we just walk on a slave ship? Because we were sold to all these different nations by the African nations. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't, but go ahead.
Okay. Like I was saying, we were sold to these different nations by the African nations because, as you can see today,
well, my brother, first of all, we was not sold to African, we were not sold to Europeans, but go ahead.
Well, you know, I have, out of the white man's textbook, I have all this information, and, you know, and such, because I don't know.
We could suggest some other books. We could suggest some books by Africans.
But those are by the African people, though. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I was saying, we were sold by the African nations to these all different nations because we were in bondage over, you know, around that time. And we walked to those slave ships willfully because we are up under a curse right now. I mean, I'm referring to biblical scripture. Are you familiar at all with anything I'm saying?
I'm trying to maintain what you're saying.
Okay.
Make your point.
The point is that the African Americans today in the United States of America are of Hebrew lineage. Can you agree with me on that?
That is a people of what?
The African Americans, as we know today, the so-called Negro, are of Hebrew lineage. And if we studied our history, we would know how to trace back to our lineage. And like the other gentleman was asking this question about how come the black women doing this and that, because we have fallen the ways of the nation. In the country, we still in that same captivity today. Because
are you familiar with Brother Kwame Ture?
As a matter of fact, I'm not, but I've been trying to listen, and you know, we're not even identified no leaders of no other African nations or countries. They never sent nobody to come and get us, and you know, it's a lot of facts supporting what I'm saying.
Well, first
But,
of all, sir, I think that you should really go back to your book and to your libraries and re-study this, because what you are saying to us now is something that's coming out of a totally European, Western ideology that carries no particular weight. We understand and we acknowledge our roots in Africa. We come from various spiritual or religious identifications.
And what religion is that, may I ask?
Not all of us all belong to one same particular family.
Right.
But the history of Africa tells you that it is the birthplace and it is the cradle of civilization.
Okay.
So everything had to come out. But what we're referring to is to the legacy of Kwame Ture and his struggle for the freedom of African people. Freedom to do what you're just doing now. The right for you to speak. Okay? The right for you to organize. The right for you to come together as a people. So this is what we're trying to deal with.
Okay, but well, like I was saying, that is not our history. Those are African.
I beg your pardon. That is our history, sir. Just like the Bible is our history. This is all part of African history.
So let me ask you a question. What tribe are we Hamitic? Is that what you're saying? We from the tribe of Ham?
If you embrace the Bible, then then you can take your own pick. I can not say I'm either from Ham or Semitic, okay? But we can definitely know that whoever was the original people of the continent, that is who we are as far as the people, as far as our ideology, our philosophy, or our spiritual or our religious thing. That is a different story, and we have African scholars, people that look like us, that have been writing about this for years, for hundreds of years. I refer to you to J.A. Rogers for any other questions. Thank you so much. Okay. Another call coming in?
Hello?
Yes. Welcome to Insight.
Thank you. I was listening to your show, and I was glad that Kwame Ture was embraced by international cultures and countries. But at the same time, as being African and being a young black male, there's a point where I still see tribalism, whereas Africans that come abroad to the country and look down upon the African American.
True.
And the reason why they're calling us African American and looking down at us as to the fact that we should, as you said, cut off the American and just claim African. But it's kind of hard being a youth, and you see these things where this so-called other black person or African has like a qualm against me that I never brought upon myself.
Yeah, but you should never want to be a part of the master.
True.
So how you going to be American, you understand? How you going to claim the indigenous land? One of the things that Kwame always stressed, that this is the indigenous land. I remember some of the chiefs that I know personally was talking about in D.C. When they was in the protest against Ture being a political prisoner, and the FBI were going to come and lock him up the next morning. And when they came the next morning, Brother Kwame Ture was on the street and with other organizers and said that, well, if you got to get to them, you got to come through us first, you understand? So, we have always give great honor and glory to the indigenous people to understand that the Western Hemisphere is their land. Now, when you want to come to recognize this land as being America, then you want to overlook the indigenous people, history, origin, civilization, the right to their land and culture. So don't be going with the master and want to be part of the master, because you know what Malcolm said. Malcolm said when the master house was burning up, the fields African would say, you know, pray for a wind to come up, you understand? When the mountain said, oh, I'm sick, he would pray that he died, you understand? Versus the house one who would be trying to put the house out, you know, harder than the mouse. So when the mouse said, I'm sick, they said, oh, what's wrong, mouse? We sick. So don't never try to unite yourself with the colonialist nation of America, and you are African. And then you have to understand, as Malcolm said, if a cat gives kittens or burdens to a kitten inside of an oven, do you call it kitten biscuits? You understand? So we have to understand that we Africans and that is all. No matter where we're born at, you know, they want to play with our names, you understand? And there's only two peoples in world history that we know that people have called them by colors. And that's us Africans, black, and Europeans, white, you understand? No other peoples is, look in the dictionary, it is known by color, you understand? So we don't want to play with that, as Brother Polani used to say, brother from Azania, who was a member of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, South Africa, used to always say, you know, black is the opposite of white, you know, and I'm not black, you know, I have a history, I have an origin, I have a civilization, you understand? So we have to understand those kinds of things, and when we start talking about those things, another aspect that we have to look at in dealing with Brother Kwame Ture, and just dealing with the aspect that you are talking about in dealing with black. Before Kwame Ture and others came out with the slogan of Black Power, you know, we was colored Negroes. Matter of fact, you don't even call me black. If you get to call me black, and I'm old enough to know if you would call me black, you had to fight me, you understand? Because I wasn't black, I was colored or Negro. So when we went to black, it was the only thing that we as the people inside this country choose to even call ourselves. But we know that Kwame Ture struggled from black power to Pan-Africanism. And we're saying as a youth that you must be able to make this change, this transformation from calling yourself black to calling yourself African.
I agree with you 100%. And what I'd like to add, too, is that, you see, many people are miseducated about themselves. Whether you were born here in these United States or whether you're born on the continent. And it is the duties of those colonial or neo-colonial people that have you in control to brainwash you, to make you think that you are different. So many people do come here thinking that they are different because they are bombarded by the propaganda that is given out by African people here in, say, this country. Thank you so much. And we have another call coming in. Kwame to Insight. Welcome to Insight. Hello? Hello? Kwame to Insight. I can hear him in the background. No call? It's coming. Kwame.
Hello?
Yes, Kwame to Insight.
Yes, good day, sir. My name is Brother Casper. I'd like to make a comment to Brother Yambu.
Yes.
I remember all the years back in Fort Valley, all the struggling you've done, and it's really a very appreciative thing now to see that you got an opportunity to go to Africa and see Brother Kwame on home. And my wife and our sister Kariba just want to say we're proud of you, and we know that you've come a long way.
Thank
Keep
you,
up the strong work, brother. We're proud of you.
Thank you, Africa.
Thank you.
Take care now.
All right, and thank you for calling.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Yes, you seem to be having a nice reaction,
Right.
you know.
Like I want to make a quick response to the brother who was talking about the different tribes.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we have to understand that we can never split our resources up in Africa according to tribes. Our natural and our mineral, and our human resources. Our natural, our mineral, and human resources must be used for the benefit of all African people.
True.
Those on the continent and those off the continent. You understand? We understand that Africa must pledge their allegiance to Africa. Cannot stand up and pledge allegiance to America. How can an African who was brought here by Europeans
right.
as a slave, been humiliated more than anybody else in this country as a slave, and still want to be a part of this slave mentality country?
That's true.
You understand? So it's confusion, and that's why we always say, and Kwame used to always push collectivism, that we must collectively decide how we're going to use our mineral resources for us as a people throughout the world as Africans, not by tribes. Matter of fact, we are against tribalism.
That's right.
We're against tribalism.
That's right.
You know, we understand we're not against tribes, but we're against tribalism because it's a difference between tribes and tribalism. You understand? You might be Africans here living in Atlanta, living in some apartment, might call themselves a tribe.
Kwame to Insight. Kwame to Insight.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Lately I was told, like, the year 2000, I was getting certain kind of hints, like, it said it's supposed to be a whole lot of computer glitches and wipeouts and stuff like this. I don't know if it's the same, on the same subject you're talking about, but do it supposed to be like some kind of big war or Armageddon or destruction of this country supposed to happen? Could you explain that better?
Okay.
know about the destruction of the world, but I know the destruction of capitalism is falling. I know the destruction of imperialism is falling. You know, I know Zionism is on the way out. I know people throughout the world is fighting against racism. So I know the struggle for people to be free is coming more violently to people throughout the world. More people is joining the struggle for worldwide socialism than more before. We know that Brother Ture, Kwame Ture, will be a great loss to the African world and the world in general, because Kwame had certain relationships to certain individuals and peoples in the world that we don't see other individuals have, even inside of our party.
Okay.
You understand? Because Kwame know presidents and prime ministers dealing with this whole struggle of building our African Committee for Political Coordination among Africans, and also building socialism throughout the world. So it was a great impact to lose Brother Kwame from a material aspect. Great loss, and I don't think African people and other people throughout the world even come to understand yet the depths of this brother's death to the peoples of Africa and the peoples of the world.
They would have to first learn about his contribution and his legacy to really, you know, be able to do that. And this is what we try to do. And also, getting to that point, due to the world crisis today, with the economic situation being shifted throughout the world, many of the jobs here are being lost, they're being shifted, they're being, whatever we want to call them, downsizing. The economic wealth of the world lies in Africa. The future of the world lies in Africa, and all of the material worth. So the people know this. It's only to enslave the minds so that they can steal again the wealth of Africa and be able to control the world. Kwame to insight.
Yes, brother.
Yes, sir.
I was a brother that knew Kwame back in the early '60s. I met Kwame in SNCC.
Okay.
And I used to be on security.
Oh, right.
And Brother Yabu, I recently to know the brother. I know him to be a good brother. But Kwame is a brother that I would always have the most highest of respect for.
Thank you.
His name and his memory. And Yabu just made a statement, which I would like for brothers to truly understand, when he said we're not into tribalism. See, if we're going to say that the black man is the original man, then all other people are just black people who moved to different parts of the planet Earth. That didn't make them not Africans no more.
Right.
The Indian is originally an African.
Right.
He just moved over here to North America.
True.
So he is our brother. The Chinese man is our brother. So when the brothers say we're not about tribalism, that's a very good statement.
Yes.
Because the black man is the original man, and all men come from black people.
Hey, thank you.
Take care now.
Okay. Thank you for those comments. Yes. Another call coming in. A cooperative insight.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I just have a question for the brother. He was speaking about, pledging allegiance to this country. I used to have the same feelings being born in England and have family from the West Indies and know my heritage back to Africa. Now, we have relatives that have been brought over here and died for the right to be here and have the right to the riches of this country, as however you see it, to profit for education. So it's not so much pledging an allegiance to this country, but our ancestors died for our right that we now share in this country.
Well, I don't think, maybe I don't understand your question, but let me let
No, get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Get what I'm saying. I'm saying, if you're a soldier, then you have to decide what uniform you're going to wear. You understand? You got to decide whether you're going to wear the uniform of the masses of our people struggling for freedom and liberation, or you're going to wear the uniform of the imperialists, those who are struggling to keep your peoples enslaved. So now, if you're going to wear the pants of Africa and the top of the imperialists, and if you run out of there with your gun, more than likely you probably get shot by both. But if not, you definitely will get shot by one side. So here, you have to come and make a commitment of what uniform you're going to wear. The uniform struggling for your people's struggle, or the uniform of the imperialists who's against your people's struggle. That's just, you know, that's it. You know, ain't no middle ground in dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
principle, you understand?
Right. Well, brother, you know, if you being traveled to Africa, from what another caller has said, you know, there's not as many resources out there for us as far as for education that we can take and go back and help our people in these other countries. So it's not so much as my allegiance to this country, but there are resources for that our people died for, the right to education, and these things that a lot of people take for granted that we have here. Our people, we came and were taken here, enslaved, and many tortured and died.
My brother, I'm sorry to cut you off, but do you know the hell we caught in this country struggling to get the opportunity to read? And do you know we struggled to get this opportunity to read to help our people move forward to freedom? And not to serve to say, I'm American, you understand? In the first book, we were able to start reading in this country. What they gave us was the Bible, you understand? Right. But we had to start learning how to read, you understand? Because we are taught education as a political tool, and we still see education as a political tool. And any revolutionary you see anywhere in the world, he will tell you the political weapon of the day is political education.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling. In retrospect, I don't really understand. Well, I hold that a point there. We have another call coming in. Kwame to Insight.
Hello, good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, personally, I'm calling. I'm a friend of Kwame. Kwame Ture. I met him about 12 years ago in Conakry, Guinea. Since then, he's like, a family friend. I know him very, very, very well. And I'm just sorry about his death. And the second comment that I want to make is that most African Americans here see Africa, as a joke, which is very wrong. I was born and raised in Africa. I am an African. Most African Americans think that Africa is just home. I always tell them Africa is a continent. They ask me several questions like, do you have clothes in Africa? Do you have houses?
Yes.
They need to be educated instead of making fun. It will help them to ask me questions about Africa instead of making fun.
Well, yes, that's true. And our program is to re-educate the miseducated, especially about Africa and African people.
My sister, that's why we say, the people need to read Malcolm, not just wear Malcolm paraphernalia, you understand? They need to come to know Malcolm, because even if they come to just read Malcolm, you understand, in their time, they'll come to understand that Malcolm said that when he was at home in Africa, that brothers and sisters were at home making their own furniture, modern furniture, up-to-date furniture, while Africans in the U.S. running around here begging Goldberg and Goldstein for their furniture, you understand? The fact, every time I go home to Africa, Africans in this country begging me to bring back something for them from Africa. Right. So, I think the political education of our people is rising towards Africa. I can remember in 1978 when I came to the party and I could walk on the university campus and say, hey, African, how you doing? I ain't no African, you understand?
That's right.
But today, you don't have that problem. You can go on the campus and say, hey, African, hey, brother, how you doing? Hey, sister, how you doing? You understand? Might even call you an African before you call you one, you understand? Another question we have to deal with, even when I go to Africa, I have to struggle with this one, with my brothers and sisters on the continent, is that we must understand that we are Africans. And you, born in Guinea-Conakry or born in Ghana, I forgot where you say you was born at on the continent, that we are Africans, born in this part of the world, or born in that part of the world, because we even have Africans born in Africa and say they are Nigerian. I said, no, you are African born in Nigeria, because we must be African first, you understand? Because if your mama gave birth to you on the ship, then what you gonna call yourself, a water baby? So you understand, we have to understand that what we are as Africans, no matter where we're born in, and when somebody try to tell you they're African American, you struggle against them on the question of identity. You are nothing but an African.
Well, thank you so much for that. Yes. thank everyone for calling. My heart is really up to hear people calling about Kwame Ture. You know, it's good to know that we have listeners out there, and for all of our listeners, the people that have called, we thank you for your calls, and we take it to the head of the things that you have said. But first, let me put this in right now. We here, as Africans, we are Africans. No question about it. I let people know that those that are born here happen to be Africans, happen to be in America. If you was in the Caribbean, you'd be the same thing. Just like the indigenous people here. I ran into many of them. They don't like the word being American. In fact, one told me, he said he wasn't Italian. And I asked him why. He said, because I'm not American. Okay? So if you understand the history of it. But to all of our people, let's look into our history. Let's read our history. Let us gather the teachers that have written about our history, that knows our history about us. Okay? I'm sorry. Europeans cannot write a definite part on our history. Okay? It takes a particular type of people that know where we come from. Okay? And this is very important. Look at our leaders back down the line. You know, many of our leaders, even if you want to mention W.E.B. Du Bois and whatnot, he started out with the NAACP, okay, a civil rights organization. But he finally found himself to be an African on the continent, helping one of the great men of the time. So I say to our people, look at our books, look at the historians and the people that have written about it, and also about the many things and accomplishments that we have done as far as African people. Again, we will have another program like this pretty soon. We welcome your phone calls. We welcome your letters. The information will be on at the end of the show. And we would then be kind of, appreciative of the things that you say and try and incorporate it into our next show, on next several shows, where we will have a full, at least a full participation. Not that this is not a full participation, because this has been a very beautiful thing. Brother Yao, we have about a minute or two. Your closing remarks.
Yes, I just want to thank everybody that had also influence upon Kwame Ture's life. I want to thank all the people who helped my comrade throughout his struggle of his life. People that he know personally, people that fed him. He stayed in their houses. They gave him transportation. They took him places and did things. And one of the things, I miss my brother, but Kwame, he was one of the revolutionaries who loved struggling for his peoples. Kwame could always smile and love to struggle for his people. He never saw it as a job that he didn't want, and I think that Kwame was one of the people that show us another role in the necessity of joining some organization, working for your people, understanding the necessity for Pan-Africanism, understanding the need for ideology. Students understand the need to be the spark of the African Revolution and to join the All-African People Revolutionary Party, or join some other organization that is struggling and fighting for the masses of our people's struggle, that you will give the greatest honor to Brother Kwame Ture by joining some organization, continuing this struggle for the liberation of African people. So we want to say to you and all the organizations, thank you for all your service to Brother Kwame Ture from the All-African People Revolutionary Party.
Madasi. And again, we are very happy to have you here, and want to extend this invitation to you and to the party to continue on. The AARP is in my heart, is the only organization here in Georgia that continue to celebrate the Earth Day of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. And I urge everyone to come out the next time, not only on that day, but any of the programs, that they organized to take part. One of the things that we have lost is the lack of communication. And I think if we begin to communicate better, we should be able to organize better. In closing, I'd like to just say this, Kwame Ture, to quote him, he said that we should do everything to know our roots and join an organization working in the interest of our people. And I don't think that can be better said than now, and it goes to what some of our listeners has been calling about. If you join an organization, you know, that is working for your people and have their interests, then we will move that much faster into realization that we are all one people. So I leave you with the motto of my mentor, the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, in saying to you, one God, one aim, one destiny. Africa for the Africans, those at home and those abroad. Thank you for coming, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Right on.